I thought just a really, really hard-fought college basketball game. Ethan does such a good job with his team. They took us out a lot of our ball screen opportunities there, and we had to figure out different ways to score, whether it was off-ball action, screening, etc. But, again, hats off to our guys for just figuring out how to make just enough plays. It's the first game of the year where we've really been able to turn somebody over, something we've talked about as a team. I just don't think our defense has had enough activity on a consistent basis to really disrupt people. And tonight, obviously, getting 22 turnovers for us was critical because the percentages they shot were so high. And so that ended up being our stops, the ability to kind of have turnovers. And then to be able to figure it out offensively there and come out with the win was huge for us.
Talk about that a little bit. You guys started, I think, 3-17 from the field. Just how do you fight through an offensive start like that?
I mean, you got to keep playing, and Youngstown's, to me, probably one of the most physical defenses that we'll face all year long. He does such a good job with their intensity and their urgency consistently. There's very few times where they break down and give you something easy. You got to earn it all. And we talked, leading into the game about how we felt like they were going to try to just do everything they could to just disrupt our flow. And, so far this year, when people have allowed us to run offense, we get good shots. And when people try to disrupt us, we're not as smooth. We lose some of that flow and some of that quick decision-making ability that's necessary, right? We got to continue to practice at that and continue to improve at that. But Youngstown did a great job, and so we just were continuing to try to find different answers. I thought we got the ball into the paint really well. Obviously did not finish well. But DG and Nikos are guys that, we're going to keep getting the ball to and rely on them to be able to, do what we need to do in and around the basket. And then those guys are both unselfish. They'll get that ball out when necessary. But yeah, you got to keep trying to find your way, and you got to keep trying to stay with it and figure out where you can find some chinks in the armor, and it's hard to do against Youngstown.
Kind of had the feel late, maybe like a late season, even a postseason game, with just how physical Youngstown is. At this point in the season, just how confident are you in the group in those kind of moments when you see them battling back?
We're building some of that confidence, right? I mean, it's we're going through a lot of this. For the first time, obviously, we have Ryan, who experienced it last year, knows what these battles are like. Some other guys don't, right? And so, to be able to have a game like that, I wish that game was not on break, so we could have some students here. I thought that game should have been on TV. It's a rematch of last year's championship game. And it's a shame, I think. And I think it would have been a great product for the Horizon League to be able to have that game on TV and people to see the quality of basketball, the quality of player that's in this league, because that was a great game. And, having that come this early on your schedule, teaches you about yourself, also shows some areas that we got to continue to tighten up and improve. But again, we made enough plays to be able to get out of here with a win.
Ryan, you had a chance to put your team ahead in the second half with like a minute left. You missed that. Chance comes around again in overtime. I mean, just kind of talk about the play and what's going through your mind during it.
When I got the ball, I was just thinking shoot, because I knew I missed the last one, but in my head I was thinking I'm going to make the next one, because Coach Toole is always on me just saying just shoot, don't overthink it, just shoot, always be ready, and thankful to them that they give me the confidence just to shoot. So in my head I'm thinking I got to make the next one, I got to have short-term memory, can't dwell on that last shot. So
Ryan, you take a lot of shots outside of practice, right?
Yes.
I've seen you. What goes through your head when you take that shot? Does it feel like you're out there with nobody and someone's feeding you the ball and you just keep shooting? You know how that is, the repetition? Is that what it's like?
Since, the coaches have helped me get a bunch of reps outside of games and everything like that, when I'm in the game, everything feels pretty much natural. So I'm not kind of nervous or anxious to shoot. It's just be ready on the catch and just shoot, just because of, all the work outside of the games. And, when the game time comes around, it's just kind of like second nature.
So that kind of makes it worthwhile, right?
Yes, sir.
Andy, one guy that I feel like his role was great, at least from my perspective, was Caleb. I mean, hit a couple big threes in the first half and big moments, just handled the ball decent bit. Just talk about how, what is his role and how much is it grow?
Yeah, I think Caleb's obviously a really versatile piece. Like in the last possession and overtime, we had him on Chris Carroll. I think, Caleb is probably as healthy as he's been in the last 2 years as a player. And we're continuing to try to help him stay healthy, trying to continue to help him, be in the best condition possible so he can play minutes and he can be effective. But he's able to do a lot. Obviously, he has good size. He had 2 or 3 deflections in the game today by being active in the gap that were huge for us. He obviously had 4 assists. He had the 2 threes early when we were looking for some opportunity to try to get our bearings. He had a nice little pull up, a couple pull ups in the second half. And so I think the versatility can allow us to counter different things that our opponents are doing. And so he's got to keep locking into what we do. We got to keep figuring out different ways that he can positively affect the team offensively. He's got to continue to be solid on the defensive side. But he did a nice job for us at Green Bay with some switching and some size. He did a nice job tonight, and so, again, the more guys that we have that can go in and can contribute, because I thought him and Taz and Josh Hill in the first half really helped us. They gave us a great lift off the bench when they took the court, and I told those guys that in the locker room. I mean, Josh had 10 and 5 tonight in 22 minutes, Taz with 8. Those are huge contributions for us, huge. And not only was it from scoring, there was some intensity and urgency on the defensive side. And I think, again, the stronger we can get, the more depth we can build, the more guys that can contribute. When DG gets in foul trouble or Albert gets in foul trouble, you feel like, hey, I got confidence in these guys to come in and continue to hold the line and keep us competitive and give us a chance to win games.
We were surprised that Nico came back out. But, hit his head. Is he all right?
No, we put him in the tent, I guess. They must have checked him quick in the tent and got him back out. I don't know.
That was surprising because it was a bang.
Yeah, it's amazing blocking foul. Crazy.
Yeah, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I think he will be.
When you're going against someone like Chris, who's felt like there were no defenders in his face, sometimes there was 2 when he was making them. I mean, what's the game plan defensively at that point?
I mean, obviously, the efficiency that he played with tonight was pretty spectacular. And I think the problem is with guys like that is that when they see the first couple go in, his first couple were unguarded. His first one was in transition. His second one was on a broken play, kind of opposite our bench. Now, all of a sudden, he's 2 for 2, and he's feeling good. And we talked a lot leading up about his ability to just, if you're not making him feel slightly uncomfortable, he'll just let it go and make it at a high rate. And, he made one on Josh. He made one on Nikos. I think he made one on DG, right? So, again, you have to make him feel like he can't just raise up into that shot. And obviously he only had 1 3 in the second half, which, was better than the 5 he had in the first half. But he's a lot to handle because of his versatility, his shooting ability, his ability to handle the ball, right? So that's why he was a preseason first-team All-League guy. And we got to figure out a better way to kind of slow him down and not allow him to be 10 for 12 in a game like this.
Ryan, you were obviously here last year, whole new team. Just got to still find ways to win games. I mean, what makes this team go?
I would say kind of just like the kind of how Coach Toole was saying, before us, last year kind of set a high standard for us. So I feel like everybody is getting on board of having that same championship mindset, for a goal. And I feel like kind of like how he said, we're building that confidence, and everybody, it feels like, is getting on board with that. So, once we get that, ultra confidence, I feel like we'll definitely do great things together.
Ryan, what does this win mean to you after winning the championship against these guys last year? You knew they were coming in here wanting to win this game.
No, it means a lot to us. A great win, a great conference win for us, and obviously none of it is finished. Where obviously the main goal is to win a championship, but this is a great stepping stone, I feel like, for us to just help us lead us in the right direction.
Thank you, guys.